Imagine someone looking at you, and for a fleeting moment, the world seems to pause. No music, no loud words, no dramatic gestures, just two eyes locking onto yours, as if time itself has slowed down, revealing something behind them that is utterly honest and cannot be hidden. That delicate, almost invisible instant is where the unconscious communicates openly, without pretense, without disguise. When I close my eyes with you, I can guide you right to that edge where a man's gaze tells the story his words never dare to speak. Even if he denies it, even if he tries to contain it, the unconscious eventually gives itself away. I can calmly lead you to witness it, and once you witness it, there is no turning back. It stays with you. Before we go further, let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed that his eyes sometimes do not align with the words coming out of his mouth? Words like, "It's nothing, really, we're just friends," or "Don't overthink it." Yet his gaze lingers a little longer than it should, returns when it ought not to, and breaks away with a hint of unease when you hold it. That slight interruption is the first crack through which the truth quietly seeps. Carl Jung believed that truth is not only found in the statements of the conscious mind, but in the subtle interplay between the masks we wear, the roles society demands, and the hidden desires of the shadow. The gaze is the boundary where the mask becomes slightly translucent and the hidden self peeks through. If this stirs something within you, pay close attention, because what follows has the power to alter the way you understand not just others, but yourself. Observe this first small, almost childlike, yet telling detail. When he enters a room where you are present, his eyes unconsciously search for you even before his mind consciously registers your presence. This happens in mere milliseconds, barely noticeable if you are not watching closely. It is not just a casual sweep of the room. It is a precise, directed scan, like a silent safety check of his surroundings. Are you here? Once this glance occurs, he masks it immediately with politeness, greets others, engages in distraction, pretending nothing happened. But in that fraction of a second, he has already found you. This instinctive sweep is not about manners or courtesy. It is an innate drive, a disguised longing for connection. It does not require physical closeness. It can occur from the doorway, across the street, or even in a fleeting reflection in a shop window. Over time, as his unconscious grows accustomed to your presence, this look becomes habitual. To verify, pay attention to the milliseconds between his arrival and the moment he consciously acknowledges you. If you notice a brief, involuntary glance before he greets you, you have already witnessed his first silent confession. He may deny it outwardly, yet the map of his eyes never lies. The second signal is more subtle, hidden not in where he looks, but in how he looks. Men in love allow their gaze to linger slightly longer than social norms dictate, yet they simultaneously fear that you might notice it. The result is a hesitant, broken glance. He turns away, only to return his gaze for a brief instant, almost as if checking whether you caught him looking. This tension, this contradiction, is profoundly revealing. He wants to conceal his desire, yet secretly wishes for you to see it. It is the classic internal conflict between the lover and the protector. The lover seeks closeness, connection, and intimacy, while the protector fears exposure, vulnerability, or losing his ground. Within the dance of the eyes, this struggle becomes visible, a subtle to and fro, away and back again. If you notice this tiny return glance, honor it quietly. Desire cannot remain hidden for long. The third sign is hidden in the invisible pattern his eyes trace across your face. Not like someone casually noticing a face, but like someone drawing secret lines, tracing a path without touch. The classic triangular pattern emerges: left eye, right eye, mouth. It descends from the eyes to the lips and back again, as though his unconscious rehearses something it cannot voice. Sometimes this line weaves across your chin, your cheeks, or the space between your eyebrows. Someone indifferent gazes straight ahead. Someone who desires leaves invisible pathways in their wake. To see it clearly, stay silent for a few seconds after sharing something meaningful and watch if his gaze unconsciously drifts toward your mouth. If it happens without prompting, his body has spoken before his words. Yes, gazes can deceive, and people can practice masks. That is why we look deeper into the archetypal language of the gaze. A man can rehearse a smile, memorize a script, perfect a posture, yet he cannot fake the subtle inner glow. This quiet luminescence, a slight sheen in the iris, appears only when something within him has been stirred profoundly. Jung would call it a constellation, a pattern formed by the union of your voice, your gestures, your presence, and something he projects upon you. He is not merely looking at you. He is seeing the reflection of the ideal he projects onto you. The more clear and resonant this projection, the brighter and warmer the glow. It is not an insistent, demanding fire, but a reverent, grateful radiance. The man in love sees you not as a prize, not as a conquest, but as a place, somewhere sacred that deserves honor. A place is held in silence, cherished quietly. If this recognition opens a new space within your mind, share it with someone who needs to understand. You sometimes recognize this sacredness not only in the glow, but in how the gaze becomes reflective, attentive. When you share your fears, a dream, a triumph, or a small success, his gaze does not flit nervously. It remains steady, patient, and warm. In this calm, the light within his eyes does not diminish. Even his eyelids soften, and his blinking slows, rhythmic, as if he wants to gift you the time you rarely give yourself. This is not passivity, but deep inner composure. Here, the archetype of the king emerges, not in dominance, but in the power to hold and honor your emotions without being overwhelmed. If his gaze remains open, unhardening in the middle of your story, if it neither avoids nor closes, it is his silent message. Can you dwell a little in my presence? And this is impossible to fake convincingly. I want to share a scene I have observed countless times, almost like a shared dream. She sits among friends. He is elsewhere, in a corner of laughter and light. From across the room, his gaze finds her, diagonal and still. No smile, no motion, just concentrated, quiet attention, as if inwardly checking that all is well. He bends, touches a glass, shifts. Perhaps someone calls him and he turns to answer. Yet when he returns, his head, his attention, does not drift back to the crowd. It returns to her. It lingers there, in subtle acknowledgement, unspoken but undeniable. The eyes are a map of hidden truths, a living compass that points to desire, longing, and reverence. Every shift, every return, every invisible triangle communicates more than words ever could. The unconscious speaks with a clarity the conscious mind cannot achieve. Once you learn to read it, once you notice the milliseconds, the tiny returns, the sacred glow, you enter a dimension where truth and feeling coexist openly, where the soul communicates without sound, and where presence itself becomes the language of love. This is not fantasy. It is observation, subtle, precise, and endlessly revealing. The eyes do not lie, not truly. They speak the language of what the heart feels, what the spirit notices, and what the soul honors quietly. To watch, to witness, to receive this gaze is to experience an honesty that transcends words, gestures, and societal performances. It is the quiet, sacred space where two consciousnesses meet and recognize each other. And once you have seen it, there is no forgetting. This subtle return glance, even if unnoticed by anyone, even if it gains him nothing, is an invisible thread that cannot be broken. The unconscious has its own compass, and within the inner world of a man in love, north is always visual contact. In his private inner ritual, he must find you again and again, a steady landmark in a changing world. Do you want to test it? Simply walk a few steps away without saying a word and observe. You may notice his eyes scanning the surroundings more quickly, a bit impatiently. Love carries with it a gentle panic when what is meaningful vanishes from sight, when the heart loses sight of its anchor. And now, let us go deeper into the gaze of the inner child. Few have the courage to see it because it reflects something tender in ourselves, a vulnerability we often hide. When a man allows himself to like you without the protective armor he usually wears, small flashes of innocence appear in his eyes. This is not childish weakness. It is a pure, unguarded vulnerability, honest and luminous. In that moment, he looks at you with a mixture of admiration, relief, and discovery, much like a child who has finally found someone who truly understands him. Usually, this innocence is fleeting. At the first hint of overwhelming feeling, he may retreat behind irony, humor, or a veneer of control. Yet this moment exists, and once you witness it, you never forget it. A man in love will, at times, look at you with the wonder of a child who has discovered water in a desert. This water is not loudly demanded. It is revered, silently observed, cherished in quiet awe. And you may ask, how does one differentiate between a gaze of mere desire and a gaze of genuine love? The answer is simpler and yet infinitely deeper. Pure desire often fractures the body with intensity, as if he wants to consume every detail of you at once, to possess you with his eyes alone. The loving gaze, however, does not fragment. It integrates. He takes in your entire being, even as his eyes linger on a particular detail. If he studies your hands, he still remembers your voice. If he admires the curve of your neck, he does not erase the story you carry. It is an attention that honors your wholeness, that does not dehumanize you. Within it lies something almost angelic, something rare and silent. When a man loves, his gaze, though it may carry desire, also grants you space. He does not seek to trap you or claim you. Observe the subtle cues. His pupils remain open, his forehead relaxes, and his eyes do not tighten with tension. Even in moments of attraction, there is a quiet affirmation, a serene yes. Here, the lover and the king coexist. Desire and respect find balance in the same point, merging seamlessly. And then there is the phenomenon of synchronicity, which Jung described as meaningful coincidences that defy pure logic. When a man falls in love, his unconscious begins to see you everywhere, in symbols and signs. He might hear a song that previously meant nothing, notice a color he always ignored, or find significance in an ordinary object. These small epiphanies become connected to you, and that is why his gaze lingers longer on things that remind him of you. A book you mentioned, a gesture you made, a shade of color that echoes your presence. He may pause at a flower stall or in front of a shop window, eyes fixed not on the item itself, but on the secret altar it has become in his mind. If you appear in that moment, his gaze may briefly flare with surprise, as if a private myth has suddenly become real. There are quiet, honest tests that reveal these hidden currents. The first is the silent mirror. When you speak, hold his gaze softly for a few seconds, without hardness, without a smile, simply present. Then lower your eyes to his hands, his chest, and return to his eyes. If his breathing shifts, if he swallows, blinks differently, or if his eyes brighten, you know the connection has touched him. The second test involves silence. While sharing a story, pause before a key detail. Watch his eyes. Do they widen slightly, pupils alert as if anticipating a gift? Eyes that love, truly love, listen this way. The third test occurs at parting. Hold his gaze for a second longer than usual, then turn away first. If he reflexively throws his gaze back toward you, he is still following, still present. Do not reproach him. Do not claim it as proof for yourself. Simply notice it. Love longs to be witnessed, not displayed. Now let us consider fear. Without it, there is no complete truth. The shadow of the lover is not contempt, but the fear of losing himself within you, of surrendering too fully. When this fear surfaces, his gaze may behave inconsistently, as if you were invisible. Watch for over-controlled movements, a stiff neck, heavier blinking, a gaze that follows a script rather than a flow. This forced neutrality is a defense, a retreat from what he desires most. Yet in small, beautiful ways, his unconscious betrays him. He may avoid looking at you directly, but find himself staring at your reflection. Pay attention to mirrors, windows, even the black screen of his phone. There, in perceived safety, he allows himself the truth his conscious mind denies. That is his unmistakable signature, a quiet confession. When you notice it, smile inwardly, for something is unfolding beyond his performance. Picture another scene. Walking together down a quiet street at night, the conversation light and casual. Then you turn a corner and the light fades slightly. For 2 steps, the world grows darker. In this brief shadow, his eyes enlarge, glancing at you with a tenderness he does not reveal in full light. Not merely because pupils react to dimness, but because the unconscious becomes braver in half-light, in the edges, the thresholds, the transitions, hallways, stairwells, elevators, turning corners. These are the moments where hidden truths emerge. If you have wondered why he looks at you differently in such moments, now you know. The edges of the world give the unconscious room to speak. There are many small, easy-to-overlook details, each a note in the same unspoken melody. The quiet pride in his eyes when you look beautiful, the soft glow when someone praises you and he struggles to maintain composure, the glance that seeks your understanding when a joke confuses him, or the hesitation when asked to act, seeking your unspoken guidance. This is not childish dependence, but trust. His unconscious recognizes you as a central reference, and his gaze quietly asks, "Are we in harmony?" If you have felt this, embrace it. You have become part of his inner orientation, a silent compass that guides his gaze and his heart. And in recognizing this, you witness a love that is not performed, not forced, but deeply alive, subtle and profoundly real. Let us gently step into the realm of dreams, a place where the unconscious quietly speaks and reveals its secrets. 1, 2, 3 nights after a meeting that touched the heart, he may dream of windows letting soft light spill across a room, of trains moving steadily along tracks, of clear, calm water, or of puzzle pieces fitting perfectly together. These images may never be spoken aloud. He will not share them, and perhaps he does not even fully remember them. Yet something remains in his eyes, a subtle depth, not fatigue, not distraction, but a quiet resonance that lingers after sleep. When he looks at you, this depth dissolves gently into your presence, as though the dream has found its daytime reflection in you. In Jung's language, the self strives to bring order into chaos, and in his eyes, this invisible work is modestly, quietly displayed. If you have ever noticed him seeming more human, more open, more tender in the morning after a day spent with you, this is exactly what it means. His gaze carries the echo of the dream, the imprint of inner order struggling to emerge from the unconscious. One could attempt to describe it with words: widened pupils, a raised eyebrow, the faintest curve of a smile tugging at the corner of the mouth. One could catalogue every micro-expression, every subtle tilt or movement, but the mechanics are not the truth. The truth is the music these micro-moments play together. The loving gaze has rhythm. It is neither restless nor inert. It breathes with you. When your pace quickens, it sometimes slows in response, not consciously, not deliberately, but naturally, as if matching your energy. When you grow calm, it softens and follows with ease, a silent attunement. This following is not planned. It is a spontaneous dance of the nervous system, orchestrated by something deeper than thought or intention. To know whether he truly loves you, you must listen with your eyes. Watch how his pupils seek you in the pauses, how they find you sometimes accidentally, sometimes intentionally. Do they return over and over as if your presence is a home where his gaze longs to dwell? If yes, no words are necessary. Everything has already been said in that quiet, living language. But how do you recognize it without losing yourself in the reflection of his eyes? Here lies another truth. Whoever seeks signs with fear invents them. Whoever observes with presence, with patience, with calm attention, recognizes them as they are. Promise yourself silently, while you listen, that you will never use these hints to manipulate or control, that you will not turn a flower, a glance, a hesitation into a checklist or a test. The gaze is sacred. If you dissect it, if you try to control it, you desecrate it. Instead, slow down your own gaze. Look less, see more. Hold, release, return calmly. Let your gaze become a temple, a sanctuary, a place where his eyes can dwell safely. A man who loves learns the rhythm of the place he loves. If you are that place, peaceful, patient, grounded, his eyes will eventually lower their defenses. I want to give you 4 concrete moments when the loving gaze is impossible to hide. The first is the farewell. You are about to leave. Time fractures, if only for a fraction of a second. Bodies step back, distances grow, and in that last instant, when everyone else has already turned their attention elsewhere, his gaze pleads silently. A soundless, weightless question: are you really leaving? You may notice it in a deeper breath, in a hesitation before returning something he has already offered. If you linger a half-second longer, you may glimpse relief. If you leave, emptiness. Learn to read this edge. It is fragile, subtle, but unbreakably present. The second sign arises in social danger. Someone crosses a boundary with you, speaks too harshly, too familiarly, or intrudes where they have no right. Suddenly, his gaze shifts, firm, steady, protective. The inner lover calls the inner warrior to the stage. Without violence, without words, he marks your space. His eyes silently declare, "Not with her." He does not need to shout, does not need to threaten. The gaze alone draws the line, establishes the boundary, holds the world at bay. It is a quiet but unyielding act of care, a commitment that you are safe under his attention. The third sign is the quiet pride he carries for you. You achieve something small or large, and he watches from a distance. Without claiming you, without gesturing possession, his eyes shine with admiration. His jaw relaxes. His posture softens. He sees you as a work of art, and he, a grateful observer permitted to witness it. No performance, no demand, only recognition, acknowledgement, and reverent joy. The fourth sign is what I call the improvised home. He observes you sleeping in a car, laughing at something he does not understand, absorbed completely in a book. No interaction is necessary, no exchange of words, and yet his gaze softens in a way that cannot be repeated, a rare intimacy that exists without being demanded. These are little sanctuaries, small, improvised moments where his love rests quietly, unpressured, unclaimed, gentle. If you have stayed with me this far, it shows you are not like the others. You are ready to go deeper. Here is a truth rarely spoken aloud. The gaze of a loving man places responsibility in your hands. Not guilt, not a burden of his history or shadow, but it asks for ethics. How you respond matters. Looking back is an act of power. You can hold this gaze to heal or to harm. You can honor desire or manipulate it. What you do with these eyes becomes part of his story and also part of your own. Love, in its mature form, is not a trick of nerves or a chemical impulse. It is a conscious choice to remain present, to observe, to care, and to act with attention and reverence. Let me leave you with a gesture you can carry for life. The next time doubt arises, do nothing. Ask nothing, complain nothing, stay still, breathe. Place your gaze in his as one places a lamp on a table. No reproach, no demand, simply being. His unconscious will respond. If love is present, you will see it immediately. He will seek you with his eyes as someone returning home after a long journey, searching for the comfort only you provide. If love is absent, the lamp will illuminate nothing, and that, too, is a gift. It teaches clarity, the ability to recognize what cannot be forced, controlled, or shaped. Jung taught that what we deny controls us, and what we accept transforms us. Accept what you see, not as surrender, but as conscious choice. And if choosing frightens you, remember this: you may lose many things, but clarity cannot be taken from you. Today, one more gift is yours: the ability to read the truth in a gaze that once sought you, even if it could not yet name you. Do not wield this clarity for petty games. Use it to live more honestly, more fully, more beautifully. There is a radical, almost sacred beauty in the act of seeing and being seen. When that beauty blooms, everything that is not love becomes impossible. If these words have opened a new space in your heart, guard it carefully. Share them with someone who needs to learn to look beyond the obvious. Let me accompany you further. Subscribe so we may continue exploring the signs of the unconscious together. And write to me in the comments. Which gazes have you noticed today that once escaped you? Recording them is often the first conscious act of truly seeing. If you know someone who is confused by the unspoken, send them these reflections, not to convince them, but to illuminate their path. The gaze that reveals a loving man is not a trick to capture him. It is a mirror reflecting your own worth back to you. When you remember your value, you look differently. And when you look differently, the world inevitably reflects that change in return. In the end, what we have explored is not just a collection of signs, glances, or micro-expressions. It is the profound language of presence, the way love speaks through the unconscious and the gaze. A man in love reveals himself not in words alone, but in the rhythm of his eyes, in the subtle return glances, in the invisible triangles, in the quiet light that lingers after dreams and reflections. Each moment, the fleeting hesitation, the protective look, the soft admiration, the attentive silence, carries a truth that cannot be feigned, a truth that asks to be recognized with care, attention, and ethical awareness. The gaze of love teaches patience, respect, and deep attentiveness. It reminds us that observing another's soul is a sacred responsibility, that to see without judgment and to honor what is revealed is itself an act of love. It also shows that clarity, once attained, cannot be taken away. To understand and witness the unconscious signals of love is to hold a mirror up to both the other and oneself, to recognize the beauty, tenderness, and depth that exist when two souls meet. Ultimately, the lesson is simple yet profound. True love is not loud, it is not demanding, it is not a performance. It is the quiet, steady acknowledgement of presence, the willingness to dwell in someone else's inner world without possession or fear. And when you can read and honor this gaze, When you meet it with your own clarity and respect, life itself becomes richer, more honest, and infinitely more beautiful. Love, in its deepest form, makes everything else impossible. It transforms the way we see, the way we feel, and the way the world meets us in return.